But I can delay no longer. Challenge George. Stephen Canning is the chair of the Conservative Future Braintree branch and author of the blog, I kid you not, Tory Boy. It's his title. He's 18. He's preparing to go to university and is in favour of tuition fees. Stephen, you'll be popular when you go to university, son.
Probably not, will I?
No, probably not. Tell me why. Tell me what's wrong with the argument I just made with our friend in Pamplona.
You raised a very good argument. And personally, I'm in favour of education. It's free and accessible to everyone of all backgrounds. However, given the current fiscal situation, can you see any other credible alternatives
but
from
Stephen,
any party on the table?
Stephen, these fees are not just for the current financial, fiscal situation. These fees are not just for Christmas. They're for life.
Certainly, yes. But
that just invalidates the very point that you have made. You've just contradicted yourself. These fees are forever. Every student in every generation is now going to be paying these fees, indeed, as a platform, these fees. Of course, they'll be increased over the years, irrespective of how the economy is doing.
Does this fee system not create a fairer system, though, whereby the universities are receiving the funding they need to build us into a world leader in education?
On the contrary, all the lecturers and teachers in the universities are telling you that actually, when the tuition fees went up from 1,000 to 3,000, the first time they were tripled, the amount of face time, the amount of face-to-face time between lecturers and students actually went down. So the more students are paying, the poorer the education they're getting.
Yes, but that original rise was accompanied by a significant cut in the teaching grant, which, although there's another cut in the teaching grant proposed now, is lower than that one in the original proposal.
Yeah, but it's being added to the original cut. So what you've got is a huge cut compounded in the teaching grant and a huge increase, the second one, the second tripling of tuition fees for the students. That just doesn't make any kind of sense, Stephen. It's in our interest as a country to turn out millions of clever, well-educated graduates. It's not just for them.
George, you just raised another point where the facts are being blurred. People keep on going on about the fees being tripled. Although they have set a theoretical maximum of £9,000, it is clearly stated in both the Brown report and the proposals that the maximum expected to be charged will be £6,000.
Okay.
Anything above that will have to be agreed in concert with the government and with the new education body that will administer these new fees.
Stephen, the fees were 0, then there were 1,000, then there were 3,000, now there's 6,000 minimum on these proposals, with the ability to charge 9,000. Now I'm telling you, and you can come back next year and the year after, if I'm still here and God spares me, and we'll compare notes. Here's what I'm telling you is going to happen. The best universities, Oxford, Cambridge and the like, are going to charge £9,000. And the day will come, and not very far distant, when a young man like you from Braintree will not be able to go to Oxford or Cambridge. Because at £9,000 for a 4-year course, plus the debt that you'll have to incur in order to live, it'll be not far short of £100,000 for your course at Oxford University. And most ordinary families will not be able to send their sons and daughters to these best universities.
Okay, but let's look at the facts that accompany the system. Although the fees are rising, certainly that will be a disadvantage and a discrimination in some ways. But there are other things that accompany this. The threshold from when you begin to pay back the money will rise from 15,000 to 20,000. There will be absolutely no interest rate whilst people are waiting to pay back the money. If the debt isn't cleared in 50 years, it will be wiped off.
In how many years?
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Stephen, the issue is not the rate at which you pay it back or when you start paying it back. The issue is the amount of debt that the student is now carrying on their shoulders. Just at a point when they would be looking to buy their first flat, just at the point they'd be looking to get married, they have around their neck a debt of tens, indeed scores of thousands of pounds. You must be able to see that.
Certainly, I see that, and it's something that has made me slightly hesitant when I've been applying for university. But although it's made me hesitant about the burden that I will be taking on, I believe it assures that I value this more. I by no means come from a well-off family. My mum is a part-time teaching assistant, and my father's a painter and decorator.
Well, that's
I
why it's
qualified for an EMA, and I know I will feel the pinch of this ride.
Well, that's why it's all the more astonishing that you're volunteering for it. It's like a turkey asking for an early Christmas.
But I cannot stand there and delude myself that there is any other way to pay for
Well, there is. I gave you some ways earlier. I told you 3 ways, and I could give you 33, believe me, that we could eliminate this deficit, which in any case is nothing like the catastrophe that the popular media is trying to persuade us that it is. It's nothing like as bad a debt as we had in 1945, during which period we built the National Health Service, built 300,000 houses a year, and began the process that peaked in the 50s, 60s and 70s, where ordinary families could send their children free of charge to the best universities, under Tory and Labour governments, by the way.
Yes, but we stand in a new world order where gradually power is drifting to the east. Countries such as China are pouring billions into their education.
That's exactly why we have to do it, Stephen.
Which is what we can do if we ensure that the universities get the funding they need by giving them a guaranteed income from the students.
But you're not giving them a guaranteed income. Your government is cutting the teaching grant.
It's reducing the teaching grant and ensuring that's replaced, and more than replaced, by the new fees.
Well, Stephen, you've just explained to us how some of these fees will not be paid back over 30 years, and that they won't be paid back until the student is employed on a job earning more than £20,000 a year.
Yes,
how is that going to pay for education in the here and now?
The government, in the report, has set out that it will bankroll all fees up front. So the university will not be shortchanged. The university will
But why
see
are the
this money.
university teachers out on the demonstrations then? Why are all the teaching unions in the universities completely against this Brown report? Why?
The universities are against it for many reasons. One reason could be a vast majority of their students are against it. Obviously, the lecturers are going to sway towards their students' opinion. A second point could be the lecturers' fear that this sort of system could potentially damage their jobs. But the system is not designed to do that. And I say that is one criticism of this government, that they have not communicated the details of the system properly.
Well, you've done a pretty good job on behalf of the Braintree branch of Conservative Future. Maybe they need to study your ability to argue a case. Stephen Canning, very well done. I didn't agree with any of the points that you made, but full marks to you. An A+, A star, if they have such a thing, for coming on the show and arguing the toss with me in Challenge George.